Disney's Snow White live-action remake seems to be just one car crash after another. We've already talked about the very low ratings that we've seen so far on Metacritic. The Metascore was 50, which is mixed or average. That's from critics. User score, overwhelming dislike 1.2, based on 776 user ratings. And then, of course, we had IMDb. Similar story over there. 2.0 out of 10. 2 out of 10. And then, of course, there was the Rotten Tomatoes. When you go to Rotten Tomatoes, you see the tomato meter, which is critics, and the popcorn meter, which is audiences, 44%, 74%. But when you click in, you see that you have top critics, 30%. And then if you click on all audience, it drops down to 23%. And of course, we've already talked about the box office. The film has underperformed financially, below the first weekend predictions. $43 million was what it brought in domestically, 87 million worldwide. We've talked about that in the previous video. The original predictions on the low scale were between 45 million to 55 million. So the film actually was lower than that again. Lower even than 2019's Dumbo. Well, now there's another problem that Disney's going to have to deal with. Another issue that has emerged from this film. This article is from thedailymail.co.uk. It's off to court we go. Disney faces discrimination lawsuit over Snow White's snub of little people actors who were replaced by cartoons in woke £215 million live-action remake of classic. It says the Little People stars of Snow White are planning a class action lawsuit against Disney for replacing them with cartoons. A top US lawyer has been appointed and is expected to file a claim against the studio alleging discrimination. It's just another bad news story for this Snow White film, it seems. It says it is the latest headache for the company over its £215 million live-action remake of the classic 1937 cartoon. Last week, it was revealed that Little People actors were planning a rally outside Disney's studios in California to protest over its use of CGI to portray the Dwarfs. Actress Ali Chapman, 50, who is 3 foot 8 inches tall, said 7 talented Little People actors could have played those roles in the live-action remake, and yet they chose to use cartoons. It's an insult and discriminatory. When you look back at the 1937 film, there was a real charm about the animation. I've talked about this a lot. And the dwarves were very endearing, you know, and they look great. Just look at the CG versions now in this remake. I mean, putting aside the fact that just the color palette looks awful. I don't know. It's just the CG is just dead and lifeless. And when I look at these characters, I mean, they're nightmarish. They're kind of ghoulish. You know, this stuff, this would give me nightmares as a kid. I mean, they just look terrible. They're just disturbing looking. They're just really odd. And, you know, they have just an off, inhuman quality about them. You know, and like, why didn't they just get Little People actors to play the roles? But the comparison I made anyway, I posted this on X. You can follow me on X at Dave Cullen Show. To me, the faces of these CG dwarves is so disturbing looking. Like, they kind of look like the mutant dog from Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's my first impression of them. Like, oh God. I don't know. I think kids are just not going to like the look of these characters, you know? I just cannot for the life of me understand this creative decision. I mean, I'll say that the dwarfs, the CG dwarfs look monstrous. They look unsettling. They look creepy. Imagine if they'd gone with real human beings to play these characters, you would have gotten better performances. You would have gotten better characterization. The chemistry between the dwarfs and Snow White, Rachel Zegler's character, would have been so much better. You would have felt that on screen in the performances. From a purely practical perspective, filming would have been so much easier. So much easier. Rachel Zegler would have been acting against people who were physically there. Right? That's the first thing. She wouldn't have to pretend like she was acting against these characters. And from a post-production standpoint, they could have saved probably a fortune, because I would imagine the CG for these dwarfs was not cheap. Okay, there's the design, the animating of them, everything. They could have saved a fortune in post-production and a great deal of time as a result. I don't get it. Yeah. The CG dwarfs just look weird. I just think the CG is just very poor in this movie. And very evidently so. But you know what? It's a mystery to me how this film even got greenlit, let alone made. But there you go. I tell you what, the box office this year has been... Wow, it's been tough. It's been tough. And yeah, it's... will anything be learned from Disney? How much longer can they just keep churning out these box office failures? Guys, I'm going to wrap it up there for now. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell icon as well to be notified of future videos. And of course, share the video out there as it really helps me out. Take care, guys, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye-bye.